Jim Chastain, Nathan Brown. Thank you all.
Hey, we're going to start off just to try and take the pressure off by talking a little bit about just the craziness of poetry readings and how people are scared of poetry. And so we like to make fun of our own hobby sometimes. And so this first poem is called A Penny for Your Thoughts, and it took place last year. The story behind it was Nathan and I were at a poetry thing that we were in charge of, and this happened, what I'm going to tell you about, and this is just sort of what you sometimes get with a poetry reading. A penny for your thoughts. At the poetry reading, some scientist took the mic and droned on for 35 minutes, while those in the audience giggled, or slept, or writhed in agony, or left in droves. Even worse, she read no poem. She spoke instead of her Irish lineage and her love of Irish history before reading Ireland's Declaration of Independence, including each signer's name. She topped off this serving of insanity, our collective misery, with a bad ballad from her iPod, which she held up to the microphone. She actually lip-synced as it played. I kid you not. I tell you these things for a reason. Someday you may take the mic and trash time taboos or audience reactions. And if you do, you'll be the subject of my next poem, and I will say your name. Her name was Penny for Your Thoughts. And as that was going on, 35 minutes, Nathan's going, you gotta stop this, you gotta stop this, you gotta stop this. Because I was really, technically in charge, and I go, man, we're not stopping this. We're going to write about this forever. This is
The other dynamic about poetry readings is that, normally when it comes to poetry readings, the only other people who are there are poets. Meaning that they would highly prefer that they be the ones that are reading at the moment. So anytime that you're up there, the reality of that hangs over everything. And you have to always keep that in mind as it's flying by. And, Jim and I, we've done a lot of writing about, which is a huge, no, you're not supposed to do that, write poetry about poetry. But the poetry about poetry readings is a form that, it's unavoidable if you attend a poetry reading. The poems write themselves. This is one that is called Huddle. They're laughing at us, baristas, cashiers, managers, as well as the other non-poet patrons of the coffee shops where we hold these readings. Now, before you pounce on me, take note that I am here too, and I'm reading my work. I'm not calling on us to quit. I'm just saying we could be a little bit less Republicanish in our foreign policy. The adjective damn is inseparable from the noun poet in most circles I run. To mention I'm a poet among these is like jumping up and yelling, I'm American on the subway in Paris. They won't kill you, but... Now look, we all believe in the gold that lines our love for this sport. But if we want to share the bounty, we could go just a tad easier on the affected speech, the look of constipation, the goatees and berets, clouds of cigarette smoke and bongos. And well, I'm just saying.
This one's called Doing the Math. You're a fairly well-known poet in Oklahoma, a poetry acquaintance once told me. I wondered what the real numbers were. We start with all the people in the world, then subtract the 99.9% who don't like poetry. From there, we subtract another 99.9%, leaving only those poetry fans who also happen to live in Oklahoma. And then we delete those Oklahomans who read poetry but aren't particularly concerned about who may have written it. My badge of honor, amongst this rather finite group, I am supposedly fairly well known. And this person says this to me, I'm going, that's not a compliment. He slammed me. There in the very front.